Hello and welcome to Civilization 6 Rise and Fall, the first expansion for Civ 6. The review embargo has just gone live, which means you can go online and read a bunch of reviews, I suppose, but it also means we can show pretty much all of this expansion off through video now. We've done some previous stuff already, but that was limited in the number of civs and number of leaders that we could actually show, and now it's not. So basically what I'm going to try and do with this video is give you, at least on a surface level, introduction to everything you'll need to know about Rise and Fall, everything that separates it from the base game. Starting with, I should think, the civilizations themselves. Oh, you just got to look at one of them, but we're going to go from top to bottom, I think. There are 9 new leaders across 8 new civilizations, and that is because India has just acquired its second leader in the form of Chandragupta. Hope I said that right. Gandhi, just below him here, obviously tends to favour a religious victory, usually likes to avoid conflict, at least if the player's controlling him, I guess. Chandragupta is very much the military-focused leader for India. You can see that his unique trait there allows him to declare a war of territorial expansion, which means that for the first 10 turns of that war, you get increased movement and increased combat strength, making him a very, very different leader to your boy Gandhi, I should think. Genghis Khan, the infamous leader of the Mongol horde, is good at a couple of things actually. War, specifically when using cavalry. You can see his Mongol horde trait that gives all cavalry units an additional +3 combat strength, and then really interestingly a chance to capture any defeated enemy cavalry. So when you attack and kill another Civ's cavalry unit, there's a chance it will just join you. I don't know exactly what the percentage of that chance is, but that just sounds really, really good, and yeah. No doubt a decent player will be able to sweep the map with a bunch of cavalry quite early on. If they know what they're doing. Aside from attacking other civs and stealing their horses, Genghis Khan is also quite well known, I guess, for establishing the Silk Road, which means there's a bunch of trade route stuff to take on board there. And essentially what you want to do, I guess, is use those trade routes. He creates a trading post in the destination city immediately, which is quite useful. And if you can keep a lot of trade up, it will basically fund your war machine that you're no doubt creating in the meantime. So yeah, that's Genghis. Who else do we have down here? My mouse wheel is all over the place. We've got Lautaro, who is the leader of the Mapuche. And yeah, he's got a really interesting history. If you want to take a look at this fella's Wikipedia page, he's a teenager, and I can see why they wanted to add him into this game. Basically, he led a sort of rebellion against the Spanish, and that is sort of reflected in his traits, actually. So if you look at Swift Hawk, there's something kind of cool. We'll get onto how loyalty works once we're in a campaign itself, but loyalty essentially means that you can flip another Civ city without declaring war, by sort of gaining its loyalty. However, using Swift Hawk, you probably will want to declare war first, because if you defeat enemy units within the borders of that city will lose 20 loyalty, which can be extremely useful. Outside of that, there's some good stuff. If you have a governor in a city, you can get when you recruit units, they have additional experience, but really, that's another brand new thing to Rise and Fall, governors. We'll get onto that too. Once we're in the game itself. Who else do we have here? Let's have a little scroll down. This one, new Pound Maker, the leader of the Kree, and he looks wicked. Look at his pipe. I don't know why the pipe is so important to me, but it is. Yes, another Native American leader here, and really has a whole bunch going on for him around the idea of sort of setting up and then maintaining really good alliances. The major trait actually is shared visibility, which means that if you do form an alliance, both you'll be able to see everything that Civ does, and that Civ will be able to see everything that you do, which could be used in one of two ways, I guess. You could use it to be better informed of your allies' movements so that you can sort of work around them, or you could look for potential ways to exploit their weaknesses. And yeah, that goes both ways. So yeah, be careful when you form alliances with Pound Maker, but really you want to be forming a lot of them by the sounds of it. Also very, very good at just trading in general, a whole bunch of advantages there to think about. And yeah, nice to see the Kree in Civ 6. Robert the Bruce, the King of Scotland. I believe he won the first War of Independence for Scotland against England. And yeah, because of that, you can see that his unique trait there allows him to declare a war of liberation, which gives another, it's similar to the one we mentioned with India. This is another bonus that lasts for the first 10 turns of that war, giving like 100% increase to production and +2 movement. So yeah, really quite useful actually. Outside of declaring war and doing it rather well, Scotland is really pretty decent at science. You've got happy cities there, so if you keep up your amenities, you can really get a decent advantage to both science and production. And how do you want to keep everyone happy in your Scottish cities? Apparently, you build them golf courses, which is kind of an interesting one. I didn't really know that Scotland was that famous for golf. I don't also really know much about golf. I know Trump has a golf course up there, and people get quite cross about that. So maybe that's what Robert the Bruce is after. I don't know. And yeah, unique unit in that form of the Highlander, which is just great. I'm a sucker for all of this. I love the character design of Robert the Bruce actually. Big chainmail armor, big tabard on the front with the Scottish flag. That's big fan. All right, we've got Seondeok here, the leader of Korea. Really, this civ is just an absolute science powerhouse. Their unique district, the Seo-1, gives a big fat science boost, and I believe it's reduced as you build things next to it, so you need quite a lot of space to take advantage of that. You're also getting a science boost from mines, and there's also a 10% increase to culture and science in all cities with an established governor. Science victory, science victory, science victory. That's what this civ, this leader, is all about. Now moving down to Shaka, who is an extremely handsome man. It's the Zulu. It's all about the MP, who are just a really good, low-cost medieval unit that, in fact, I think there's some additional things here in the fact that when you take a city using the MP, they can get upgraded as you do that. And yeah, the MP Rush is a tactic many people will be familiar with from passive games, and it looks like we're going to have to either defend against that or try and do it ourselves again with your boy Shaka here. We've got Tamar, who is the leader of Georgia. I think Georgia, this is the first time they've ever been in a Civ game, actually. And she's got a huge, massive increase to faith there for 10 turns after declaring a protectorate war. Combination of religious victory with actually being quite aggressive with your military at the same time. And she sounds really cool. It's cool to see a brand new Civ, Georgia. Nice. I believe, it said in the introduction video for Tamar that she ended up being recognized as a saint? So is that the first saint Civ leader? Possibly. And who else do we have? Down here, Wilhelma, the leader of the Netherlands. Look how absolutely cheerful she looks. She holds an umbrella as well. It's my favourite accompanying item for a Civ leader in Civ 6. The Netherlands really want to be next to water. There's a lot of advantages for building next to rivers and next to the coast. They can protect those coastlines with a unique ship that they can build, which, you can see it down there. Gives a +7 combat strength when attacking defensible districts. And she's also got her own unique leader trait, which means that trade routes actually increase loyalty in the starting city. So that's a nice way to manage that if you're, worried about other civs trying to flip your cities. Although actually, as we'll see when we dive into the loyalty mechanic, you really want a high amount of loyalty in a city that's next to another city that you're trying to capture. It sort of emanates from there. We'll take a look at that once we're in. And I think that is, that's all 8 civs, right? We've done the Zulu, the Mapuche, Scotland, Georgia, the Kree, India, Mongolia, the Netherlands, and Korea. Cool. Well, I guess we'll jump in with Wilhelma, actually, because she's got an umbrella, and that's great. And we'll get to showing off some of the features within the game itself. Hello Sean, it's nice to have you back for the expansion. Do you see that Sean Bean dies again in the intro cinematic for Rise and Fall, after dying in the intro for Civ 6 and in everything that he's ever been in, ever? Poor Sean. What did he do to deserve that? Alright, so here we are. Let's take a look at some of the new stuff in Rise and Fall. In fact, the name Rise and Fall is referring to one of the expansion's biggest new features, which is the ages. So, within each era, your civilization will be building up an era score, and that is increased through pretty much everything that you do really well. So if you build a wonder before someone else, before any of the civs, or you are quick to a scientific breakthrough, if you manage to encounter or impress a neutral city-state, if you declare war and do well in that war against another civilization, all of these things will be bumping up your era score. Basically, everything that you would typically do in a game of Civilization 6, if you do it well, your era score goes up. Now, once the next era comes around, the game looks at what your current era score is, and right now ours is 0 because we've done nothing. And you can see that would mean that if we were to go into a new era next turn, we would go into it as a Dark Age civilization. Whereas if we can bump that era score up to this threshold of 12 to 23, we go in as a normal age, and if we go in with an era score of 24 plus, if we've had a really good era, it means for the next era we will be declared a Golden Age civilization, and different bonuses come with each of these. The Golden Age is always what you want to be aiming for, really, because the advantages, the bonuses that you get to select are just better. And it gives a really nice feeling of sort of, obviously within a game of Civ, you've got your long-term sort of victory condition that you're aiming towards, but within each era, that feels like there's a bunch of smaller victories that you can sort of aim for along the way. You want to get to a certain era score, so lots of new short-term goals come with that. And if you do enter a Dark Age, it's not great. Your cities will be unhappy. You won't be able to pick from those Golden Age advantages that other civs are going to pick from. However, it doesn't mean you've necessarily lost the game. You are potentially on the back foot. However, if you manage to go from an era when you're in a Dark Age to an era when you're in a Golden Age, the game actually declares your civilization as going through a heroic age instead, which is sort of a Golden Age on steroids. I believe you get to pick 2 of the advantages from that Golden Age rather than just 1, and so that can actually make a huge difference. And so if you do have a bad era, it's not the end of the world. You can come back from it, which is important. But you typically try and avoid ending up in a Dark Age is pretty good advice. So we've got Amsterdam here, and if we bring up the city details, we can go over to here, this new tab which shows loyalty and governors. Now loyalty, every single city that your civilization controls will have a loyalty rating. Out of a possible 100 points, you can see ours is currently at 100, which is good. And that's great. It means that the city is loyal to us and we don't have anything to worry about. However, if your loyalty starts to drop because of either your own actions, maybe you're doing things that are making your citizens unhappy, or potentially because of the actions of another civilization, your loyalty can drop. If your loyalty drops too low, the city will rebel against you, and at that stage you can either take it back using military force, or you can try to increase its loyalty again so it joins you. However, during that sort of sweet spot when the city is neutral or sort of independent, another civilization can also try and increase its loyalty, and the city can join them instead, which means that, other civilizations can take your cities without any military force being used whatsoever. Now, loyalty is affected by a bunch of stuff, and in fact, there is a governor, we'll get into governors in a second, that really has a big advantage, a big sort of increase on the amount of loyalty that you generate and the amount of loyalty you generate within cities nearby. And actually, distance is really important. one of the biggest factors on a city's loyalty, other than which age you're in. If you're in a golden age, they'll love you. If you're in a dark age, you've got some problems. However, cities that are nearby have a huge influence on a city's loyalty. And so, if you say you started as Amsterdam here and you found America over here and you wanted to sort of bottleneck how far they could expand, and you built a really early city really close to them, quite far away from your capital, that city is going to take some fairly substantial hits to its loyalty. And because it's so close to these American cities that could exist down here, let's say, they're going to have a really easier time flipping that city over to their control. So it's sort of countered the idea of like very early on in a game of Civ, branching out and building cities to sort of block other civilizations, which I think is pretty worthwhile, and means that that isn't just the default decision each time. Okay, so if we go across to the governors, we don't have any assigned governors just yet, but we can go and have a look at the governor screen, which is up here. These are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 governors that you can acquire. You build up governor points, allowing you to appoint a new governor every so often, and we're a few turns away from being able to select our first one. But each of them, they're named characters. It sort of reminds me a little bit of the Civ Council. Do you remember that from Civilization 2? Hopefully not. And each of them serves a different role. So the diplomat, for example, is the one that we mentioned that once you promote them to emissary, you'll start getting additional loyalty to any cities nearby, which is really useful. And yeah, we should talk about the idea of promotions, because although you earn governor points which allow you to appoint new governors, that same sort of point that you've acquired can also be used to promote existing governors. So it's a decision of whether or not to, like, do I want a really good diplomat, or do I want an okay diplomat but also a couple of the governors as well that will be useful. It's unlikely that you'll ever have all of the governors in a single campaign, and actually you'd be spreading yourself too thin if you did try to do that, I think. And yeah, the promotions work like this. So there's a tree to it. If you unlock emissary, you can go for affluence, but you can't go for promoter. So you'd have to decide what you want to build towards, and eventually when you've unlocked all these 4, you can get puppeteer, which is the final promotion for the diplomat. And yeah, each of them, sort of every sort of play style has a governor to reflect them here, which is what you'd expect. We haven't seen any other civilizations, but it's worth knowing that when you try to create an alliance with another civ, there are different types of alliances to consider. And in fact, they're called enhanced alliances. The longer an alliance is maintained between two civilizations, the better it is. So if you have an alliance that enhances trade, you'll get a small trade bonus to begin with, but after 100 turns and that alliance has stood the test of time, that those bonuses get substantially better. So there's a real reason to actually keep hold of an alliance and not just throw it away when the time comes. And I think that's a kind of a more interesting way to think about that mechanic. So I mentioned that along the way you're building up era score for doing cool stuff. You can actually look at all the cool stuff that you've done so far by going to your history timeline, which we don't have any yet, but all your historic moments from the race start of the game to the eventual victory, everything that you do along the way is mapped on here. Some of the more substantial historic moments have cool illustrations, and it's just a nice way to make you feel like your civilization has had a story. And also it ties in nicely with this whole era score mechanic. You can actually see it charted out in front of you when those things happened. And also if you come back to a game after leaving it for a couple of weeks or something, this is a really good way to catch up on what's happened so far. And outside of that, you've got some new buildings, units, and natural wonders. And in fact, I think there's 8 new wonders that you can build as well in Rise and Fall. Obviously, we can't quite show any of them off just yet because, well, we can only build a monument. But yeah, that stuff's been fleshed out as you'd expect. And the one other big mechanic, which I think is interesting is the idea of emergencies. So when something happens in your game of Civilization, say someone drops a nuclear bomb for the first time, a global emergency is called, in which other civilizations are invited to do something about what just happened. So it could be, for example, if a nuclear bomb had just been dropped, the silo where it was fired from, the emergency may ask other civilizations to go and destroy it, because this is a worldwide emergency that needs to be dealt with. If the civs that do agree to do it manage to pull that off, they receive bonuses. However, if the civilization that's defending against that emergency manages to defend it for a certain number of turns and the emergency fails, they themselves get a bonus as well. And I like that idea because it gives the feeling of a connected world, that, you know, the things that are happening between two civilizations are affecting everyone, and the world is sort of looking at them. And yeah, once again, we can't really show that off too well just yet because, well, we haven't met any other civs, and the only emergency we have right now is that our starting location could have been a little bit better. And yeah, that is, I guess, a first look at Rise and Fall. If you have any questions, I have put a few hours into this now, and we've already previewed it a little bit early on, towards the end of last year, I think. And yeah, happy to answer any questions you may have in the comment section below. And if not, yeah, the expansion's out on Friday, so not long to wait. And we shall see you next time. Thanks very much for watching, and goodbye.